What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today I want to talk about two different topics. I want to talk about this $2,000 stimulus check. Yes, I said a $2,000 stimulus check. Now, this is for a certain state. I'm going to talk about the state in a minute. Now, this is not for everyone, okay? But this is a good indicator. When you start having states talking about a stimulus check, we've heard stimulus check for gas and gas rebates. This is something similar to that. When you start hearing states talk about this, and when you start finding out that some of these states still have a surplus, they still have money from the last stimulus package, when you start hearing that, this is good news for a lot of people, because not only is this state looking at doing stimulus checks, but guess what? Other states are talking about it as well. So we're going to talk about that. And then I have a personal story that I want to talk about. Last night I was sitting in the dark for about an hour, and the unique situation that I was in was caught on camera. I actually recorded it. And so I want to show you that because it's pretty jaw-dropping. When it happened, I was just like, what the heck just happened? But the fact that I had it recorded, I want to show you, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But first off, on this channel, we talk about financial news and what's going on in Washington, D.C. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me, it's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so let's get to the main story, stimulus checks. So we're talking about Governor Wolf in Pennsylvania. He has a plan, okay? The name of his plan is the Pennsylvania Opportunity Plan. Now, what he wants to do, there's a surplus of money from the American Rescue Plan, okay? So that first stimulus package that went through when President Biden became president, there's money left over. And Pennsylvania has about $10 billion left over. And so what he wants to do is he wants to take $1.7 billion of that money, and he wants to use that for stimulus checks as well as funding for small business. Now, the way that this will play out is a household making less than $50,000 or $50,000 or less, they would receive a $2,000 one-time stimulus check. Now, households making $80,000 or less, they would receive a $1,500 stimulus check. Okay, so now let's talk about the roadblocks, because there are some roadblocks when it comes to this. It's not going to be just as easy as Governor Wolf wants the $2,000 stimulus check. What we're looking at is we have the state legislature. So we have the Assembly and the Senate in the state. Now, both the state Assembly and the state Senate, they're run by Republicans. And Republicans are already saying, look, we don't want to move forward with this plan, okay? They're already saying, we have to save this money, like hold this money over because we might have deficits in the future. They were talking about a potential deficit in 2026. And so they said, we can't spend that money. We need to hold on to the money. And that deficit that they're talking about would be about $1.4 billion. That's what the talk is. Now, mind you, there's $10 billion. There's $10 billion that they have from this American Rescue Plan. And so that is the reason why Republicans are saying, the Republican legislators are saying, we don't want to move forward because we could potentially have some problems in the future. So we don't want to use that money for stimulus checks is basically what they're saying. And so we'll have to see what Pennsylvania does. Now, it is a midterm, and that means that some of these politicians will be running for re-election. And so maybe later down the road, closer to election time, some of these legislators will change their mind when it comes to this $2,000 stimulus check, $2,000 or $1,500 stimulus check. But I still think it's good news because it shows you that some of these states still have money left over. And what are they going to do with that money that's left over? They have until 2024 to decide on what they're going to do with that money. And if they don't do anything with the money, guess what? It goes back to the federal government. So they will find a way to spend that money. And so we'll have to see how this all plays out. But it's good to see that you have a state that is seriously considering stimulus checks. You might have some other states that are going to come online as well. And we've already heard some other states with the gas rebate stimulus check. So there are other states that are talking about this right now. There are other states that have a surplus, and they've told us that they have surpluses. And so that's why they're trying to move forward and trying to provide these rebates. I think any state that has a surplus, they should have some money saved away for emergencies, but any state that has a surplus, they need to give that money back to to the residents. They just do. This is taxpayer dollars. They need to give these rebates back to the residents of that state. That's just the way I feel when it comes down to it. Okay, so let's get to this personal story that happened last night. Now, I'm in Barranquilla, Colombia, okay? And if you guys been watching my channel for the last I've been here for a month, actually, over a month, like 5 weeks. So if you've been watching my channel in the last 5 weeks, you know I'm in Colombia. I continue to tell you guys that where I am and talk a little bit about Colombia. So last week, there was a power outage. And that power outage was only for about 5 to 10 minutes, okay? Very, very short. I don't even know if it was 5. It might have been 5 minutes. But nonetheless, last night, it started raining. Now, in Barranquilla right now, it's very, very hot. We're talking 95 to 100 degrees every day, very humid. It's one of those deals where you don't want to go out. You don't want to go out between like 11 and 4 o'clock because it's really, really hot. And so it was interesting to see that it was raining. And it was at night. It was probably about 11:30 at night. And I wanted to record the rain. And so as soon as I heard that it was raining, I got my phone, I went out to my balcony, and I started recording. And I was recording for probably about 3 minutes. And it's interesting because I didn't need to record for 3 minutes. I just needed to get a little bit of footage, and I wanted to talk about it in a future video. That was the plan. But what ended up happening is I actually caught lightning strike one of the boxes, I guess the transformers or what have you. Now, I didn't get that on camera, but you see the result. You see the big spark, the big flash, and then everything, the whole block just goes out. And so that's what I got. But you could see kind of the thunder and lightning before it happens, right before it happens. And then after it happens, it's completely dark, but then you see some thunder and lightning again. And so I'm going to show you guys this footage. Now, I fast forward a little bit, so this is not the very beginning. But like I said, I was recording for about 3 minutes. And the interesting part about it is the only reason that I was still recording is because I had one phone in one hand recording, and then I wanted to send a message to one of my friends that lives in Colombia. And so I was recording on my other phone, I was recording just to send her a WhatsApp message. And so that's the only reason that I still had this one recording, because it was already recording, so I just kept it going, and then I was messing around with my other phone. So let me go ahead and show you the footage, and we'll talk a little bit through it as it goes. And so at this point, you see all the lights are on, you see the rain, and the rain's coming down really, really hard. So I'm at a point now where I'm just thinking, wow, this is crazy. Like I haven't seen rain in Barranquilla, so I'm experiencing it for the first time. Now here it comes right here. Wow. And I'm telling you, we'll play it back just so you can catch it, but right as this white vehicle down in the bottom corner comes by, then you just see it bounce off those buildings. And I'm telling you, I'm standing on the balcony, and you see the camera kind of moves, right? It was so loud that it's one of those things where it's so loud you could feel it. That's how loud it was. And I'm not going to lie, it shook me. And when it went off, I was like, whoa, what's going on? I mean, it was like an explosion. And so we sat in the dark for probably about an hour. It was kind of weird because it went completely black, and then about 10 minutes later, the lights came on, and then they went off like 5 minutes after that, and then they were out for about an hour. Now it's midnight in Barranquilla, Colombia. It's probably still in the high 80s, maybe 90 degrees. And no AC, nothing, okay? And one thing that I always recommend, and I didn't do this on this trip, but I do have other lights, and so I was okay. Always bring a flashlight. Always bring a flashlight in your luggage, because you never know when a situation like this happens where you'll have a power outage. And depending on where you travel to, some of these countries, their infrastructure is not not good. Okay. And I experienced this in Thailand. I was in Phuket, Thailand. Every day we had a power outage. Every day. And it was so bad that they already had the flashlights. Some hotels will have flashlights already in the closet. They already had the flashlights in the closet. So this is normal occurrence for them. But you never know. When you're traveling to these different countries, you don't know how their infrastructure is. Now, in Colombia, in Barranquilla, infrastructure is good. I mean, you saw what happened there, and that knocked out the whole block, and they got it back up in an hour. And so that's pretty good. That's a pretty good response. That's comparable to what would happen in the U.S. if we had a big transformer blow out. That's pretty good that they were able to fix it that fast. But nonetheless, always bring some type of flashlight. Now, in my case, I have lights that I use that are battery operated, and so I just use those. So I just turned on those battery operated lights, and I was good. But it took about an hour, came back up, and then we were fine after that. But it was just amazing that I was able to catch that on camera, and just complete luck. And it's one of those things where you just happen to have your phone on and recording, and something something crazy happens. Okay, so that's all I wanted to talk about today. So if you guys have any questions about stimulus checks in Pennsylvania, let me know down below. If you have any other questions about Colombia or Barranquilla, let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.